Hello, I'm just about to start a new brew day. So today I'm going to be making Hefeweizen. So the last time I had a go at Hefeweizen, it went horribly wrong and the mash scorched and it was a pain to clean up. So hang on, I'm just trying to open up the little basket, bucket filled with my grains. There we go. So, yeah, last time, horribly wrong, went down the drain, in the bin, everything crap. Water's just turned on, probably should have set it for half an hour earlier, but I'm doing a acid rest, about 43 Celsius. So I'll do that for 10 minutes and I'll bump up the heat again. Yeah. Don't know if you could see it at the bottom, got the back brewing additional filter screen. Hopefully this time that will stop all the gunk getting through and scorching. Weighed out all my grain. So this recipe, it's a little bit different. Just got certain things lying about. So 3 kilograms light wheat malt, 2.1 kilograms Bohemian Pilsner malt, 250 grams Carawheat, about 250 grams of rice hulls and oat husks. And because I had it lying around, I'd meant to use it in the Kolsch actually and then just didn't bother with it. I had a kilogram of Vienna, so I've just thrown that in to get it used up. It's no, I don't think it's normal for the style, but I don't think it's going to make that big a difference. Plus, my efficiencies have been quite low, so I'll just compensate with throwing in an extra bit of grain. And there is 3.2 grams of calcium chloride. So in Brewfather, that's when I go and do the water profile, so I put in what my water is, and I'm aiming for a Hefeweizen target profile. Hops, Hallertauer, one addition at 60 minutes, 30ish. I might up that a little bit, just because I've upped the grains a little, I'll up the IBUs, but I'll put the final recipe in the comments. So yeah, last brew day, this had decided to stop working. I opened it up. Didn't really know what I was going to find inside. I wasn't going to bother, I was just going to bin it, but I thought I'll open it up. It was broken anyway. It's not going to get any more broken. And I seen there was a loose wire that came away. It looked like it corroded a little, so I don't know if it had been soldered and then the solder had broken. But yeah, seen a loose wire with a connector, jammed them together, closed it back up, flicked the switch while looking away, and that seemed to do the trick. But I don't think it's long for this world. So I had another project. I think I've spoken about it quite a bit in my videos. So I've been converting a oil boil kettle. So I should get. So I've got I think that is, yeah. So 40mm hole for a 2.4 kilowatt kettle element, and then a smaller one. That is for a thermal well. Got another one the same size to do for the tap, and I've ordered a sight glass. There's also a Helms coil ordered, so I'll need more fittings and things to put on. But just now, there's going to be a temperature probe at the bottom for when I'm just using it along with the grain father. When I start to use it as a Herms and recirculating, I'm going to put a T where it comes out of the Herms and put a thermal well in the T, so you're getting the temperature of the water coming out rather than the water in the pot. built the control panel for it. Went reasonably well. I'd followed a couple of videos. I'd seen Hapless Ginger and Norfolk Hillbilly. Both had videos wiring up Inkbird PIDs. What I really need is a video on how to actually program the thing. I don't quite understand it. I was under the mistaken notion that it just worked the same as the Inkbird that I used to control the therm fridge, the plug and play. No, far more settings. But I'll get that sorted. Yeah, I put it inside the junction box. Everything's all tidied away. No bits of metal I can electrocute myself on. When I put the element and I put a tap actually in where the thermal wheel was going to go, just because I'd got a tap off of AliExpress, but I think the nipple thing needs to be longer. I think I'm having to over tighten it to get the lock nut on, and that's deforming the O-ring, which is letting water through it. It held absolutely fine until it got to, I think it's a 33 litre pot, and it was fine until it got to about 32 litres, right about there, and then there was a little drip. So I think it will be fine. I just need to play about with that a little bit. Yeah, that'll be the replacement for when the jam maker properly dies. Today I'm going to mash in the quick way and lazy way. That's another reason I've just chucked in that extra kilo of grain. So I'm just going to fill up the basket with the grain and slowly lower it in, and then give it a good stir. Last time I done the Hefeweizen, I done the slow fill method. I also ran the recirc pump while I was mashing in. Don't know if that maybe caused the issue and pulled through a lot of flour. But no, today, quick, simple, maybe not as efficient, but it'll make me beer at the end. And I've lifted out my yeast. Really should have made a starter for this, since it's a few months out of date. But it's been in the fridge. I made a starter for the last one, for the batch we went in the bin, and the yeast is definitely alive. Made the starter thing. So it'll be a bit of a lag time, but I'll add plenty of nutrients, aerate the wort, should be all good. So yeah, once the water's up to temperature, I'll come back on and film the mashing in. Okay, so I'm about to start mashing in. Water is at 42 centigrade, just about coming up to the 43 that I need for the rest. Definitely remember to put the filter in this time. That's the pump filter, I mean, not the bottom plate. The bottom plate has got the double filter. All the grain is in the basket. So what I'm going to do is very, very slowly lower the basket into the water. As I say, this is a sort of poor man's underletting. added the husks to this because of the high proportion of wheat. So wheat malt doesn't have any husks and has a habit of gumming up the mash, making the recirculation difficult, the sparging difficult. Water's coming up, maybe see it around the edges. That's a good sign. It means that it is travelling through the grain quite easily. There we go, that is it now in. So let's check. Yeah. Oh, now give it some stirring. Quite a bit of background noise of boiling a kettle at the same time. Although the fermenter was completely clean when I put it away, it's not been used in a little while, it smells a bit fusty. So while I'm doing all the brewday, I thought I'll let it soak for an hour or so in some warm VWP, just to put my mind at ease, and then I'll rinse it, and I'll fill up my star sand in there as well, so it should be fine. This has went very smoothly, no big dough balls. I think Brewfather suggested 20.5 litres of strike water. I've used a little bit more, I've went up to 22 because I want a little bit thinner mash. Find that works better for me in terms of circulation and sparging. So stirring up from the bottom, through the middle, through the top, make sure that all the grain's wet. Break up any dough balls that you see. That's it. So this is an acid rest, which you do around 43 degrees centigrade, and that's to try and increase the amount of ferulic acid available in the wort, which in a Hefeweizen should help with getting those big as a banana esters. Don't need to do it. You can do other things with Hefeweizen to promote that. Generally stressing out the yeast is a good thing. For any other beer style you tend not to want to stress the yeast out, but for a Hefeweizen that's where the flavour is. So underpitch it, don't aerate it. I'm not so sure about the nutrients. I would still prefer to add nutrients, because although you want to stress it, but you don't want it to stall, and you'll end up with a high finishing gravity. This is predicted to come out around 6%. I think it'll probably be around about 5.5, which is a little bit stronger than I usually go for. Right, all done. So if you watch my Courage Brewday video, you'll notice that this is a very quick way of mashing in. It's probably not a good way to do it, but for me it works. My numbers tend to be poor regardless of what I do, so we'll do it the shoddy way. Okay. I'm just going to set a timer to remind myself. You can program the steps into the grain filler, but I find it's easier just to do it manually. But it's each to their own. Yeah, okay. There we go, that'll do it. This is always the fun bit, trying to get the top screen on. Although I've kind of given up a little bit these days. If the seal comes off the top plate, I don't care. That'll do it. Grain stopper. Ever since I got this, that little top, this thing, I never been able to get it to go just neatly on the pipe. Bollocks, that'll do it. Okay. So, lid back on. Get the circulation arm. On. And for the pump. Okay, so all mashed in. I'll come back on once I'm into the boil. So that's me 30 minutes into a 90-minute boil, and it's time for the first and only hop addition. 45 grams of Hallertauer. Quite a bit under my pre-boil gravity, which is upsetting. So I was expecting, Brewfather was expecting 1052, and when I took a hydrometer sample and corrected for the temperature, I think I'm lucky if I hit 1037, and I'm half a litre down on the volume, so terrible efficiency. I don't really get. Mashing in was a breeze, no dough balls, could stir quite easily, all the grain was wet, so yeah, bizarre. Anyway, that'll still give me a beer, hopefully around 4.5. Probably should have added the extra hops and just stuck with 35 grams, but not the end of the world. Quite low alpha acids. So that's the brew day finished. No major disasters, but the numbers are atrocious for this. So I was expecting a starting gravity of 1061, and it is 1040. So absolute pants efficiency. Don't know what the issue is. Maybe I'm getting poor starch conversion or something, but yeah. So it'll give me a wheat beer, probably just over 4%, which is fine. I mean, it should hopefully be drinkable. I'm glad that they bothered making a starter for that yeast, because I don't see why we'll have any trouble getting through that. So I pitched the yeast, no bother in aerating the wort, can't be bothered. And I've added a little bit of hop-aid anti-foam. I'll ferment just under 20 centigrade. So the joyous task now of cleaning up. But yeah, a bit annoyed. But what can you do? Right. Okay. I'll tag this on as a little bonus bit in the video. So I've been considering bottling the Imperial Stout I've had in the fermenter for, I think it was February I made it. So it's been a few months. So doing another gravity sample. It's about the same as what it was the last time I checked, a month or two ago. So I think it's about 1028, 1026, right about there. So I think I'll get a wee taste. I'll admit I was quite pleased when I opened the fermenter and there wasn't a pellicle or any sort of mould. It does smell very nice. Like, you know, when you get an espresso and it's got like sort of, but there's a fruitiness to it, like almost cherry-like, chocolate cherries. That'll be very nice. Slight warming. Boozy. No super boozy. I mean, it shouldn't be. It didn't get anywhere near what it was supposed to be. So I think this is about 8.7, something like that. I'll check again, but it's around about there. Tastes amazing though. I mean, this is a flat sample at 20 degrees at the fermenter. It reminds me of a stout I had from, I can't remember the name of the brewery. It's the Polish brewers, and they make a tonka bean stout. It's got that, the perfumey sort of aftertaste in your, yeah, it's like just a very faint taste on your breath at the end, which reminds me of the tonka beans. There's no anything special added to this. It was some sugar, that was it. Everything else, it was just malt. Big coffee flavour. Surprisingly smooth, considering it's quite a young beer. No acrid, burnt flavours. That is excellent. That is, as much as I'm disappointed it didn't reach the target gravity, it tastes brilliant. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the main thing, is that you enjoy it. So the plan is I'm going to bottle this with no sugar, and then not touch any of the bottles until December. I'm hoping then that small amounts of residual sugars will get broken down by the yeast, like the complex, the dark sugars, and it'll carbonate like that, because I'm worried that I'd like to keep some of these for age them for a year, and my worry is that they'll become overcarbonated if I prime them to 1.8 or 2 volumes. So now, just going to have them straight in the bottle, and I will try and resist opening any till at least November. Christmas ideally. It's very good. It's excellent. Very, very pleased with that. That's Ron Patson. One that has recipes for the Courage Imperial Stout. Yeah. Also, this is the last brew of the fast ferment. See it? It was the first fermenter I got, and it served me well, but I kind of, there's too many bits to clean, and it always looks slightly grotty, and it's just an infection waiting to happen. So this is its last huzzah. What a way to go. Yeah. I look forward to going blind with that Christmas. Okay. So, that's me done now. Cheers.